Why More Senior Citizens Should Be Active on Social Media by Andrew Werner. My research question is, how can we make public discourse more balanced in the conversations that we have about controversial topics today? Why do we use social media? We use social media to stay connected with our friends and family by sharing pictures with them and keeping updates on what is going on in our life. We use it to get information on current topics that are going on in the world today, and we use it to have public discourse and debates about these current topics. Some of the controversial topics that are very heavily discussed in the world today are gun control laws, laws about who should be allowed to have guns, whether or not we should be allowed to own guns, what kind of modifications we should be allowed to have. Another topic is abortion and whether or not we should be allowed to have abortion. Immigration laws, about how sternly we should enforce our immigration laws and prevent illegal immigration, or whether we should have open borders allowing more people. And also about socialism and whether or not we should keep our current economic and political system, which is a more capital-based system, or change to a more socialist-based system. These are some demographics of U.S. citizens on social media from the Pew Research Center, which is a nonpartisan fact tank based in Washington, D.C. We can see that U.S. citizens in the age range of 18 to 29, about 88% of these people use social media, which equates to about 9 in 10 people. While people over the age of 65, only about 37% of these people use social media, which equates to about 4 in 10 people. So there's far less people over the age of 65 using social media than people who are much younger in the 18 to 29-year-old range. This is another graph from the Pew Research Center, and it shows how as the age range is younger, social media use increases significantly, and we see people in the age range of 18 to 29 use social media the highest with 88%. People in the 30 to 49-year-old range, next youngest, use it in about 78%. Citizens in the age range of 50 to 64-year-old range, about 65% use social media, while the oldest age range, 65 and older, use it the least, only about 37% of which use it. This quote by Edward Kessler from the stimulus materials explains how certain demographics of people sometimes show correlation based on their opinions and ideas based on topics. So, such as with the age range, you can see correlations with the people in certain age ranges' ideas, which may be different from people in a different age range. We see this with socialism and how people in the 18 to 29-year-old range have a far more positive image of socialism, while people in the 65 and older age range have a far less positive image on socialism. And the 18 to 29-year-old range also has a positive view of capitalism, but the people in the 65 and older range have a slightly more positive image of capitalism. And this statistics was taken from Gallup, an American analytics company based in Washington, D.C., which is highly trusted and respected by many people. So why is this bad for public discourse? Well, as we know from the research from the Pew Research Center, we can see that there are far more people in the younger age range, in the 18 to 29-year-old range, who are on social media, while they also have a far more positive image of socialism and favor it more. So this would promote echo chambers of people in the 18 to 29-year-old range who have a far more positive image of socialism, while the people in the 65 and older range do not get to voice their opinion as much as the people in the 18 to 29-year-old range. So there would be people who are consistently talking about the positives of socialism while not considering the negative aspects, which the older people might be able to add in to the conversation if they were on social media. So some solutions for this problem would be to give classes to seniors to learn how to use social media more easily, because many of the people who are in this 65 and older age range are intimidated by social media and the internet and are not able to use it because they do not understand it. We could also make social media platforms that are simpler and less intimidating for them to use so that they will be able to get their opinions out and still be able to understand how to use it. Some implications and limitations of these solutions would be that if senior citizens were to engage in social media, then public discourse would be more beneficial by having beneficial conversations that do not only talk about one side of the conversation while talking about both aspects of the negative and positives of certain topics such as socialism. Some limitations would be that trolls may use social media to get a rise out of people rather than use it for good. And also, false information may trick people into believing things that are not true. So some prevention methods for these in regards to trolling, you can block or just rather ignore the people who do not use social media responsibly. So these people who are trying to get a rise out of people or not spreading true things, you can simply just block them on the site and you won't have to hear from them. As far as false information goes, you can use fact-checking websites like Hoaxy, which is one made from the University of Indiana at Birmingham, which monitors the spread of fake news and false information. So if you don't know if a topic is, or a fact that someone told you is true or not, you can go to these websites and input the topic and find things that are likely false or fake news. So you can use those websites to know whether or not something is true. And for biased news, you can make sure to listen to only trusted and unbiased news sources so that you don't get biased or false information from them. And this would be the most beneficial way to use social media to get information, have public discourse, and to connect with others. In conclusion, social media will be more diverse and a balanced platform when people from multiple age groups, such as the people from the 65 and older, and also people in the 50 to 64-year-old range, were to join, then people of all ages would be on social media more, and that would lead to more balanced and beneficial topics or discussions on topics. People will be more informed on the topics since they'll be getting multiple viewpoints on these topics and creating more beneficial discussions leading to people to be able to get the best viewpoint on the topic that they have. People would come to accordance on these topics, so people would be able to see the truth more easily rather than having to look for the rare, true facts that people are rarely spreading. And if people from the 65 and older age range were to join social media, then they would become more prevalent rather than people only using certain information and disregarding others on certain topics. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Got a couple of questions for you. What strategies did you go through in order to gather the information for your research?
So first I came up with my research question regarding how to make social media a more balanced platform to have beneficial topics. And then I came up with some claims regarding that topic. And then I used research from the internet that I found from trusted sites that would back up my claims, and I was able to use those to back up my research question and come to a conclusion on my topic.
Okay. And then what might be sort of the real-world implications of your conclusion at the end? If those strategies come into play, how do you think the world could change?
Well, if my strategies were able to come into play in the world, then I think that more senior citizens would be on social media, which would lead to balanced social media platforms rather than echo chambers with the younger age range of people in the 18 to 29 year old range.
Terrific. Thank you.